Hi, it's Megan. So at the Giorgio Armani Friends and Family sale, which is honestly how I like to buy Giorgio Armani given the price point, I decided to get 2 more of the high voltage 24-hour Eyes to Kill eyeshadows. And one of the ones I got was actually suggested by someone who watched another one of my videos, and that is number 31, June Beetle, which is part of the different collection, the Giorgio Armani limited edition Kaleidoscope Eyes to Kill eyeshadow. So the other one I got was number 12. So I got the June Beetle 31, number 31. These are $33 for 0.14 ounces. And then I got the Giorgio Armani Moonlight number 12 Eyes to Kill Intense eyeshadows, which are $34 for the same size, 0.14 ounces. And I like to take pictures of these outside. I like taking pictures of everything outside just because I think in natural light it looks different, it looks better. Or at least it looks maybe not better, but the way it's actually going to look when you're outside running around living your life. These in particular have such amazing undertones to them with all these different color sparkles that I just have never been able to capture all those things in an indoor photo. Maybe a better photographer could, but when I take them outside, it's like they just pop. They look so beautiful. So they call it a hybrid, innovative hybrid texture, not powder or cream, and acts like a smooth lasting color film. They say each shade is intensified with second pigment for multi-dimensional effect, and I would say that these actually sometimes have like 3 or 4 colors in them. And they say in just one swoop, create a wet, shimmering, smoky eye. Base color covers eyelid, and second pigment adds drama to the contour. Then they call it a technology color fill for the first time in an eyeshadow. A new high resistance biopolymer enables the formula to perfectly fit the color of the eyelid with cushy suppleness for a never seen comfortable long wear. So they say 24 hours, crease proof, flake proof, waterproof, and sweat proof. I don't wear any makeup for 24 hours, but I will attest that these do last on me 12 plus hours without an eyeshadow primer. So they're amazing in the wearability, and I actually tend not to use an eyeshadow primer with them because they're so pigmented and I don't like too much pigment on my eyes. So in some of the earlier videos I'd done one side wet and one side dry, and I found some of them looked very different wet and some of them did not. So on these right here, I did it mostly dry. The Beetle, the June Beetle, which is the bluer one, I did not think was that different when it was wet. The silver though was very much bolder. So the silver right here, and I didn't wipe it away, you can see it's kind of a little dew silver right in there. That's where I used it wet, kind of under the eye, and you can see it just like pops with this beautiful silver undertone. So I'm gonna show you the ones I got. So let's do the silver one first. It is a bright metallic silver, and it has like a blue undertone. So grab my little brush. I took this cup of a brush and I brushed the silver right in here, and it builds up beautifully. It can go on as a very sheer silver, or you can build it up the way that I did, or with a wet silver it's like a metallic, like that. And this is what it looks like. It's kind of interesting, and you'll see in the outside. So it looks kind of bluish silver with pink little flecks in it. The pink just doesn't quite show up as much as the blue, so it really does end up looking like a silver with a little bit of a bluish undertone, which is why it was perfect with June Beetle, which is blue with a little silver undertone. And I noticed that all the ones that I had of these Eyes to Kill shadows were gold, so I was absolutely sure I was going to go with the silvers, and I really like the ones I got. One thing that the Armani rep showed me is that you can use brush, fingers, wet, dry. You can also pat it on just like this, and when you pat it on like that, it's not going to show on camera. I tried it outside too. It just doesn't show that well. When you pat it on like this, it gives it a really iridescent effect, much less pigmented, but you can actually see more the individual colors, because when you blend them together, you really are blending them together so that they kind of just look almost like one color with undertones. When you pat it on like this, you really can see the more colors that are in. So this is what it looks like, and it's amazing how these just wear and don't fade, and they mix also beautifully with other eyeshadows, not only with each other but with other eyeshadows, which is another huge strong positive, and I don't always find that with with shadows. Sometimes they just don't play well with others. I took this softer brush, smaller, tiny. I love this little brush. I don't know where I got it, in some kit or something. But then I use that to line. And this brush I wet. The other, and it does these, I don't know, these are like a hybrid thing. So they kind of like, you get this little pressing thing that you put on top. And it's like a pressed powder. It's kind of like a hybrid between a cream and a powder. I can see where it feels like both a cream and a powder on. So I'm actually going to re-swatch the silver, because I really just patted it on, which I don't think gave the full effect of how like rich and beautiful. So I'm going to swatch them both at the same time. And these are dry. And sometimes I did swatches of both, dry and wet, but I didn't think that the June Beetle was that different. So you can see the silver right there, and then you can see the June Beetle right there, the blue, and you can see how light. So this is kind of one of, I like the idea of mermaid eyes, the mermaid colors. This to me is a mermaid color. It is a lighter blue. It looks really pigmented in the pot, but I found that it comes on more like that. Even wet, it doesn't build up quite as much as the silver one did. And this is part of a 6 limited edition collection. And so this one, and most of them are still available. I have one that I'm just going to swatch on my arm real quick and maybe take a picture outside that I was given as a sample at Nordstrom, because I tried to buy it and I realized that the whole chain is sold out. And the Armani rep was there too, and she was going to try to find it. I haven't heard. It's been 2 weeks, so I think they didn't. So I'm just going to swatch it so you can see it. But so I took the blue, the June Beetle, and I put that kind of on the outer part of the eye and then in the crease a little bit, and then I lined it under here. And actually, I'm going to show you what I mean about how it's just a lighter, and I wet it underneath, but you still don't see it that dark. It really is a soft, shimmery mermaid kind of a blue. You can see how light it goes on in contrast to the silver, which is just a much more richly pigmented. So this is like a cool tone, greenish blue over kind of a bluish violet base, which kind of is a hard thing to understand, but that's why I think of it as kind of a mermaid color. It's got just those different undertones, the blues, the greens, the violets, which to me, I think kind of mermaids and oceans. And I don't know, living in Southern California, maybe I'm prone too easily, or I'm prone too easily to kind of make those connections, but anyway, I do. So this one, I also thought they're both a little bit metallic. I would say though that they're two of my favorites of this particular formula, just because I like things that you can kind of sheer out and get that soft wash of color, but also get pigmentation, and these fit the bill perfectly. I do think the silver builds up. Like I said, I don't think the June Beetle does so much, and this is number 31. So these right here, there were 6 shades. The Rose Papilla is the one that sold out. And let me do a little bit. I'm not going to hold it up because it's all broken. This is a really cool, this is almost impossible for me to describe, and I'll take it outside and do a swatch outside too. But if you can see it right there, and it doesn't show, I don't think it shows up that well on camera. It is that right there. Yeah, it's a really light shade, but the way it looks in real life, it's like plum and gold and mauve, and it has this gray smoky thing that it just seems to change colors outside, almost even like a gold silver shift sometimes, which is just really, and then pinks and mauves. So it's a really pretty shade. If you can find it somewhere, maybe you can get a sample like I did, because this one's pretty much sold out. So overall, these lived up to everything that I always think about these Kaleidoscope Eyes to Kill Intense or whatever eyeshadows, 24 hours. They just work if you like shimmery shades. They last well, they apply very well. Pigmented, except June Beetle was a light pigmentation. It's a very light shade. You can get kind of a thicker, heavier, but more metallic look with using them wet, especially the silver. You can also pat them on like I showed you to get just that real soft, really beautiful shimmer of the light hitting all these different undertones, which is just kind of, I don't know, iridescent, angelic, amazing. And I did it with pinks, but you can also do these with corals. Look really beautiful. I was just doing a blush video with a pink blush, but I'm kind of into these softer spring type of colors. We didn't really have much of a winter here in Southern California. It was like 80 to 70 most days. So I never really fully got into the winter stuff, so I'm all into like the light pinks and blues and silvers and all that, and corals. But these are a solid offering again. I've been really lucky. I've heard read reviews that say that some of these don't have quite as many kind of stunning undertones. I've been really lucky. I've gotten ones that have just been so unusual, unique, flattering, gorgeous, amazing. So if you have some of these others, this one was a request, or not a request, I guess a suggestion. I would love to hear about the colors you have or what you think of them. Suggestions for other videos, please subscribe on YouTube. And I have a novel called Masks, which I'm putting on YouTube chapter by chapter. Check that out. I also do videos for my book, Get Your Child to the Top, which is a parent-focused education book, and I think that